Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rise. We're back here at Mazda Nissan in Newport Richey, and guess what? I have that totally redesigned two-row mid-size SUV. It's this vehicle right here. This is a 2025 Nissan Murano. This particular one is an SV trim. But before we get into this stormtrooper paint job on a Murano, let's talk about what's going on here. So the Murano has been in Nissan's lineup for quite a few years now, and it has been that one kind of vehicle that's so different from anything else in its class, because with it being a mid-size crossover SUV, it's just two rows, not three rows. Now, it got a little long in the tooth, but for 2025, Nissan went all in and did a total redesign, new power plant, and got rid of the CVT. But what I want to find out is, can this vehicle compete with others like the Lexus RX? And you might be saying, well, Joe, Lexus is a premium brand, RX, premium SUV, isn't Nissan the premium level Infiniti? Well, here's the thing. Infiniti doesn't have a competitor that's just two rows. They have the QX60. So what I want to find out is, does this Nissan have that little extra luxury to make it viable to go up against the RX? Why don't we go ahead, let's dive into this one and find out. Right off the bat, the paint, that stormtrooper look, pearlescent white with all the black accents and those gloss black wheels. It really does give it a sportier look to it. Now, at the front of the business, you're gonna see that all new design, full LED headlights. And one thing you'll notice is that they actually took the headlight housing and they connected it with this gloss black in the center to make it be all sort of one cohesive design from passenger side to driver's side, and from driver's side back to passenger side. Now, as we work our way down, we do have our LED turn signals and our LED daytime running lamps, which bookend our V-Motion grille. They're still using that V-Motion grille design philosophy, and the way that they did it with the actual grille itself intersecting and locking in with the lighting is very, very creative and gives it a unique look. And then on the lower portion, just some flat black. I'm okay with that. Now, as we come across that front nose, this black portion takes a little time to get used to. And no matter how good Lori is with that camera, it's one of those things that you have to see it in person. And I think it'll make much more, much better sense to you when you see it in person. Now, the nice thing about it connecting the headlight housings is also they take the name and emboss Murano into the gloss black. Love that pearlescent white. Of course, you have your updated Nissan badge. No forward-facing camera. That's where a forward-facing camera would normally go. So SV does not have a forward-facing camera, but I do like the horizontal gloss black in the grille. And then down below, everything is a flat black. And then you'll notice the silver, because now we have turbocharged power. Gone is the V6, and we have turbocharged power. But let me know what you think about the face of the Murano compared to the Lexus RX. Now, as we rise up, nice smooth finish to the hood. Love the way the body lines, they really did a great job tightening up those body lines. Almost sounds like a racetrack here at Mazda Nissan. On top of the RX, there is another key player you could throw in there. It just dawned on me while that Mustang exhaust was reverberating in my inner ear. CX-70 from Mazda. Mid-size, two-row crossover SUV. Now, as we come around the bend, of course, if we have all new sheet metal, you gotta have new wheels. And I'm really digging the style of them, especially all blacked out. That sort of etching that they do to give us some ridges like Ruffles potato chips. The size of the wheel, 20-inch wheel. Tires are 255 on the width, 55 series sidewall, and check it out, no flat black around the fender openings. The Lexus RX does have flat black around the fender openings. And depending on how you spec your CX-70, it can also have flat black as well. So nice that there's no flat black everything painted. Coming down the side, you are going to get gloss black on the mirror caps. Really smooth finish, no 360-degree cameras on this trim, and there's also no sunroof on this trim. Like I said, you want all the goodies, you gotta go platinum. You do have some bright, shiny metalwork only along the top, and I'm okay with that. It's not too chrome blingy. It's just a nice aluminum finish. There's a bug right in my face. Get rid of that bug, get it out of here. You do have color match on the door handles. See the pearlescent pop? It's like a diamond. And then flat black along the bottom. One of the things that I think looks great on the Murano is actually how the roof line and that trim comes into the rear quarter panel and the rear fender. Gives it a sporty look. It's definitely not a boxy SUV. And then on the tail end of the business, they knocked it out of the park. Full LED lighting, no Thomas Edison light bulbs. You do have your long roof spoiler because guess what? The wiper is tucked underneath. So no exposed wiper, really cleans up the back. And SVs come standard with all-wheel drive. So nice to see that. And you got your gunmetal gray badging with the Murano name spelled out and the all-wheel drive badge. And then working our way down to ground level, just very, very clean. Some flat black and a little bit of gloss black, and that's all we need. But why don't we go ahead, let's pop the hood and talk about power in this midsize two-row. All right, guys, we got the hood popped. You do have hood struts. Gone is the V6. No more naturally aspirated V6. You now have turbocharged power. Now, if you compare this to the Lexus RX or the Mazda CX-70, those also have turbocharged power. But what do we have? It's a 2-liter inline-4 variable compression turbo. That's why they call it a VC turbo that pumps out 241 horsepower, 260 pound-feet of torque. It is mated to a 9-speed automatic, so no more CVT. The vehicle weighs, with all-wheel drive, 4,400 pounds, 0 to 60 in about 7.8 seconds, quarter mile in 15.3, and a top speed that's governed to around 120 miles per hour. MPGs, 21 in the city and 27 on the highway. And the crazy thing is, like I said, the Murano has been around since 2003, if you could believe that. But why don't we go ahead? I'm happy that there's a 9-speed automatic, but I got a zonk that they went 4-cylinder VC turbo. I guess you can't have your cake and eat it too. But why don't we go ahead, let's fire it up and see it move. All right, guys, we are inside this 2025 Nissan Murano SV. If you ever wondered what the heck is Murano, first of all, remember it's spelled with a U, M-U. It's not Murano, like some moron or moronic thing. Murano is actually a type of Venetian glass. And that was Nissan's purpose for calling it that, because they felt like it did add a little bit more luxury, even though this isn't an Infiniti, it's still a Nissan product. Now, I know you're probably saying to yourself, well, Joe, thank you for the little lesson. Now, I need to know how much this costs, because money talks and my butt is walking if it's too expensive. So how much is this Nissan Murano? MSRP for this one with standard all-wheel drive, you're looking at $43,000. Why don't we go ahead, let's take a little tour. I'll show you around and see if it's worth it. To the door panels. Love what they did. Soft touch with contrast stitching. Looks fantastic. You got some thin ambient lighting there, and that's one of the things. They brought some nice ambient lighting into the vehicle. You also have that sort of like ridged area where the door handle is. What's great about that is that it matches some of the trim like on the wheels, and just blends everything in nicely. It is two-tone with the creamy beige, and there is some gloss black around the switchgear, which I am gonna have to zonk, but if you live in New York, you'll be able to get 2 New York bagels in that door pocket with an extra large schmear of cream cheese and a venti-sized cup of hot Joe to wash it down. Now going from the door panel to the dash, like the way they did this trim here, just like on the door panel, the stitching, the soft touch, even the way they did this wood style finish. Very nice on the finishes in here. Down below, you do have a pass-through in this bridge center console. So you could put a purse, a hat, a cap, or a big old fat sack right down there. And then when you slide on in to the infotainment system, they did a great job because they actually created this little hood area, and it kind of incorporates the screens nicely into the dash. 12.3 inch on your infotainment system. Of course, it's full touchscreen. This is your home screen. I'll go ahead and bring up things like the AC controls. You can control right on the screen itself. You do have dual climate. 3 stages of heated seats, no ventilated seats on this trim. Just something to think about. Let me go ahead and throw it into reverse. Backup camera, pretty good resolution. It does take up all 12.3 inches, and you do have trajectory lines, which is really nice as well. And then we're right back where we started. And of course, you can swipe over and there's other features and functions. Now working our way down, you got a real deal volume knob. A little bit of gloss black, but you're not going to touch this, and I like the way they embossed the Murano name there with a U, not an O. Start stop button, and then you got these haptic buttons in the wood trim for your dual climate control. So if you don't want to touch the screen, you could do all your AC controls right here. Nice touch. Wireless charging, 2 USB-Cs. There is a bit of gloss black, and yes, you do have these push buttons for your transmission, but it shouldn't be too terrible to clean off the fingerprints. D mode, you got the D. Those are the different drive modes. I'll show you that when you come to the business side. 2 cup holders. Love the way they got the updated Nissan key fob. Nice, thin. And then you got this little area here. Here's where you could keep a little bit of extra cream cheese for those bagels. Because I know some people go cream cheese heavy. I kind of go for like a mild to medium. Some people just, it's like 90% cream cheese, 10% bagel. But that's not how I live my life. I do love the soft touch material, the stitching. Open sesame, look at that. Now down in there, you could easily put 7 honey buns. You know, I used to have a teacher that if you were the nicest in class, she'd give you a honey bun because you were really sweet. The problem is that the honey bun had over 1,200 calories and about 120 grams of fat. So I guess contributing to childhood obesity. Seats, soft material, very simple, clean design. You do have electric assist for the passenger, electric assist for the driver, and it shouldn't be any surprise because I already told you if you were listening, there's no sunroof in the SV trim. But why don't you get your butt over here to the business end? I want to show you behind the new wheel in this all-new Murano. All right, guys, business time. Behind the wheel, you do have those easy access seat controls. I'm going to go ahead and lower the seat. I think a little munchkin from Wizard of Oz was sitting behind the wheel of this Murano. I'm 6 feet tall, and as you can see, I'm swimming in space. And that's what I love about these mid-size 2-row SUVs. It's nice to have 2 rows and not have to fold down the 3rd row. It just is. Steering wheel, the leather. I'm digging the single spoke. They nailed it nicely with the updated badge. You got a little bit of that ruffles, ridges design. I guess if you're stressed out, your anxiety is really, you know, going nuts in your mind, you could just take your fingernail and just rub it on this to make you feel better. You do have thumb controls, and there are paddles to go up and down that 9-speed automatic, which is nice. And then, of course, you do have things like your manual tilting and telescoping steering wheel. Now, when it comes to the dash, you have the capability to scroll through a cornucopia of information, and you got the different modes: sport, standard, and eco. I like the way they just keep it simple. And then even on top of the hood here, the stitching, that's where they brought the materials up to a nice new level with this Murano. But why don't we go ahead, let's get in the back seat, because that's the only row that's back there, and see if your passengers are going to be happy you went with this SUV. All right, guys, back seat time, and this is, like I said, another big plus. Having a midsize, but just having 2 rows really opens up the space here. Still 6 feet tall. not even close to that headliner. Backs of the seats, you do have the soft material. No pocket though behind the driver's seat. So if you bought a couple extra bagels when you went to Antonio's down on 46th Street, you're gonna have to put them on your lap, and God only knows how you're gonna squish that cream cheese all over your lap, and people are gonna think that you had some kind of weird accident. Little command center here. You do have AC vents, 2 USB-Cs. Thank Holy Moses, I do have my own pocket here because I don't want to put any bagels in between my legs. No thanks. That sounds like a good time, but I have a feeling it's not. Well, that done. Just got to use a little soft touch. 2 cup holders with a place for 4 Slim Jims. There's nothing like taking a bite of a bagel and snapping into a Slim Jim at the same time. It's the flavor profile. But nice, comfortable seats. Let's get into that cargo area because I want to take you for a spin in this Murano. All right, guys, time to get in the cargo area. I like the way they hide the button if you're going to do it the old-fashioned way, right? In the new Nissan badge. Tap that. Rises up. One thing I want to just point out is look at how high the rear bumper is. So if you're lifting a lot of things from ground level, you do have quite a bit of distance to travel before you get it in there. But once you get it in, you're in like Flynn, because with the rear seat up, you're looking at 33 cubic feet of space. And this is why I like 2-row mid-size SUVs. Nice large nook. You could put your gallon of Yoo-Hoo on one side. And then on the passenger side here, we're gonna take out this goodie bag. That's where you can put your box of Twinkies. But look at this. You do get a goodie bag from Nissan. I wonder what's in it. We could only guess. Handles easily located to fold down those seats. It is a 60-40 rear split. Once you put the rear seats down, and my OCD is bothering me right now, I gotta fix this. There we go. I'll be able to sleep better tonight. Once those seats fold down, you got 64 cubic feet of space, which is nice, and it is a 60-40 split. So you could have 2 people sitting and 1 seat down. Or you could have 1 person sitting and room for 2 things to drop down. Or you can just drop it all. Whatever you want to do. It's that time though. If you're ready, I'm ready. Why don't we go ahead and hop in together and take this Murano SV for a spin. All right, guys, we're leaving Moss Nissan. We're inside this 2025 Nissan Murano SV trim. Right away, you're gonna love these freaking seats. Absolutely amazing on the comfort and the support that they give. Plus, on this trim, both front seats are full electric assist. Large 12.3-inch gauge cluster and a large 12.3-inch infotainment system screen. So they got you covered both ways in this vehicle with nice size screens. They're nicely integrated. And then having this bridge style center console makes a lot of sense, especially with the amount of storage that you have underneath. Plus you have your USB-Cs, wireless charging, and yes, I know push button transmissions aren't everybody's favorite, but it does clean up this whole center console area. Visibility is great. 8 pillars are pulled very far apart. And the Murano, especially in this color combo, does have a little bit of a sporty vibe to it, which is kind of nice. Nice to see that. It's quiet on the interior. Did a good job on the rigidity of the chassis. And then of course that 9-speed automatic is a heaven send. Are you ready? We're gonna go on throttle. On throttle! Turbo drops down and we are off. Let's go. Nice shifts. The all-wheel drive is gonna allow you to handle very, very well. And even though I don't love the engine, it is better equipped with the 9-speed compared to a CVT. So just something to think about, that yes, you're not getting that naturally aspirated V6 and that linear torque delivery, but the good news is, as you saw in that on throttle, it wasn't like I was waiting for the boost to build. The transmission dropped down and we were off to the races, but it is a little buzzy because it is a 4-cylinder turbo, and the torque delivery is not as linear. But with the all-wheel drive, gets the power to the ground very effectively. And they even worked on the steering as well, which is nice. But it's one of those things that I think once you give the Murano a chance, there may be some parts of it that you really, really like. Now, is it able to compete with an RX from Lexus or a Mazda CX-70? I want you to let me know in the comment section. I think out of the three, my choice would be the Mazda CX-70. But that's just me. What I do like about the Murano is that it's easy to make a U-turn. I mean, look at that. And it's not as big as the CX-70. CX-70 is a little on the larger side compared to the RX and compared to this Murano. But the paddles are well within reach if you want to shift manually with the paddles. And they really got the suspension tuning done very, very well. But going into a bend, it's just, it's very balanced. It's very smooth. Even with the 20-inch wheels, which isn't always easy to do. But I'm hoping that this has been a good, quick overall review of the SV trim of the Murano. We're gonna get back to Mazda Nissan and wrap this one up. So I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, another great day in so many ways here at Mazda Nissan. Definitely got to thank Christian and the rest of the team getting us access to this SV trim of the Murano. Now it's your turn. Let me know what you think. Did Nissan do enough to make it compete so that it can compete with the Lexus RX and the Mazda CX-70? Let me know in that comment section. But if you're new to the channel, you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raise family. Gotta give it up to LGR. She's got her gear on for the summertime heat, and she's definitely bringing the fire with her awesome videography skills. So thank you, Lori, for all that you're doing. Just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.